I started imperfectly, and honestly, if I'm completely honest, came from a place of just complaining. I lived in Seattle, and there was times where I would have to wake up and pick up the heroin needles out of my front yard before my kids went outside to play. I worked for a global communications company called Own the Room, and I would travel to San Francisco to teach communication skills at some of the largest tech companies, LinkedIn, Google, Meta, you name it. And when I asked these mecca companies what their budget was to train their employees, I was blown away. $3.6 billion? Really? And if I could borrow just 0.1% of that budget to train some of the people right outside of your windows, the people that I passed in my Uber, digging through trash cans, catching imaginary butterflies, on God knows what. But if I can train them on how to access their voice and express their needs, would that change the trajectory of their life? I started volunteering in some of the shelters in Seattle. And when you sit knee to knee with these people and hear the desperation in their voices and hear the stories that they grew up with, it changes your heart from that place of complaining to a place of feeling convicted. What can I do to help you?
I was 10 years old. My father started having me smoke pot and drink with him. It led to some pretty traumatic events and sexual abuse. I didn't like drinking when I was younger at all because it made me feel out of control. And I did not want to be like my dad. But when my mom killed herself, it put me in this place of shock. I didn't cry for 2 years, and I just kind of went into this place where I couldn't do anything. And so I used drinking to cope.
So we focus on 4 main areas, and that is financial literacy, health and nutrition, career development, and communication.
Before Ashley started working with the girls at treatment, we had a very basic program for them, but it was very surface level stuff. And then when Ashley came, she had everything drawn out for them and set up in a way where they could all benefit. And she did it in a fun, creative way.
Dance parties are one of my favorite things to start off with. Many of the girls that I serve, they don't ask for help because they feel weak or they feel shamed if they have to ask for help. I teach them to not look left or to the right to seek validation, but you can look up or you can look within. And that's what builds courage to end up asking for help.
To humble myself, to actually trust another person with helping me make better choices was very difficult for me because people have been a very huge cause of my pain and my suffering in my life. If it wasn't for imperfectly, I wouldn't love myself the way I do.
I've seen several women, get visitations with their kids back, get custody of their kids back, find housing for them and their kids, start talking to family members after years of not talking to them, find jobs or careers that they love, and being able to finance cars and just be a productive member of society.
If I'm a guessing girl, I bet you've probably been in my shoes where you feel the need to complain about this population, people who suffer from homelessness, addiction. But let me tell you something. When you sit knee to knee with these wonderful people, and when you hear their stories, you understand where the addiction came in. And then you have compassion and you have empathy and you want to hold their hands and walk alongside them and not just be an advocate, but be a friend, because they're awesome.